Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. Back once again, worlds colliding. Back for another week. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just going over our notes because it's kind of a cool, exciting episode we have coming up.
That
and,
it is.
I kind of like this one, man. This is cool stuff here.
Are you ready to take a trip back to where neon fanny packs ruled the world? The Super Nintendo was as strong as it could be. Everybody was listening to Winger and Slaughter. It was a great time. We're talking about the 90s. That's right. What, you don't like my analogy?
Everything except for the Winger and Slaughter reference.
That was like the ultimate early 90s bands when hair bands were dying.
That's true. It's very true. So
should I have changed that to Danzig? He was really big during this time, like the mid 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan until I watched him get popped backstage one time, but
that's true. All right, so we're talking about 90s wrestling cards, and like the 90s, a lot of people want to say that the 80s was the wrestling boom, and sure it was, but I mean, like dollar wise and ratings wise, the 90s was like top as you could get in wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
yeah, I mean, they didn't pull any numbers like they did. Today when you get like a SmackDown pulling a 2.2 ratings like that, that's nothing compared to what it was getting back in the late 90s when we call the Attitude Era. Right. Of course, things were getting 6 and 7. I think even a couple of them got 8s.
WCW Saturday Night was probably doing the 2.2.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there's a lot more different things to watch nowadays. So despite what your opinion of the product is these days, good or bad, there's still a lot more options for people to do things, and the internet has really kind of changed and a lot of things. So yeah, it's kind of apples and oranges in that sense. But yeah, 90s, man, that's just it was everywhere. I mean, TV guide covers, and I mean, it was everywhere. Talk
shows, every kind of, as we'll get into probably a little bit, like every kind of product and gimmick you could think of. It had wrestling on it.
Everything from Hot Wheels to again, like you said, Arsenio Hall show to, I mean, it was on everything.
So another hot take that people probably don't want to hear about is, in my opinion, from a importance and a longevity standpoint, I think the 90s wrestling cards are some of the biggest that have ever been made.
I agree. I think so.
And we're going to talk about that with some highlights and some of our favorites. And I'm not like, in full transparency, I'm still a huge All-Stars fan. I love 85 Tops. I love 80. So a lot of this stuff necessarily isn't my favorite, but I just can't deny when I'm starting to run down the list of cards that are released in the 90s, I'm just like, this is a who's who of like first cards, rookie cards. We've got cards that we've never seen before that were a first for wrestling, that were cutting edge at the time. So
I think what's funny while we're talking about this today, I was just checking my PSA stats, which, by the way, I'm at stage 5 officially now. Woo-hoo!
Nice. Two years later.
Yeah, that's right. And I was looking at that before we started recording today, and I was looking at, I said 20 card submission, and all but 2 of them are from the 90s.
Perfect. There you go.
All but 2 are from the 90s.
So let's just jump into some of the highlights. The first one I want to talk about, and I talk about it a lot, is the action-packed Macho Man autograph and the Undertaker autograph. It was the first ever, to my knowledge, pack-pulled serial number autograph, and you call it a parallel if you want, I guess, because they're prototypes, which isn't the base card. It's a variation. Do you count that as a promo? Do you count that as a parallel? It's whatever. But the fact is, it's the first of its kind, and it's not like today where you get Topps WWE stuff coming out. Oh, it's numbered to 99. Okay, well, nobody wants those because there's 99 of them. But with these 500, that sounds like a lot, especially for the 90s when everything was Jim Mint collectible, limited edition, gold plated. But really, when you sit back and think about it, you don't see these very often. And
They don't.
when you do, it's just they're going for at least 1,000 usually.
I wonder how many, there's got obviously still some sealed product out there, even though it's far and few between. I wonder how many of these cards are still sitting in packs after all this time.
And if you look around, like I don't ever see any sealed wax of this stuff hardly ever either.
No, I'm not saying that I'm not saying they're gone, but they're far and few between. But I'm wondering how many are still sitting in packs of what's out there. So, but that's it. These are pack pulled things we're talking about for highlights. You got the action pack. Do we don't want to talk about action pack right now?
Oh, I just mentioned it. Yeah, we can keep going to whatever you want.
I mean, you got the action pack. Obviously, the '95 WCW main event, which is still
opening up a can of worms there.
Yeah, it's a little bit debatable. Although when you have some of the more experienced collectors out there that are stepping forward saying, hey, I opened packs, I pulled this card, I kind of go, okay, I can kind of believe that now because I've opened a lot of that product. I never hit an autograph card, or maybe because it's on a base card with that not numbered and no certification on it whatsoever. Maybe I just put it in the singles and got rid of it one day and didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I mean, so you had that '95 WCW main event. You had the '98-'99 WCW. You got the '98-'99 WWF, as we, in our notes like that from the SmackDown and Superstar. So these are all pack pulled type of things. But if you want to go for autographs and talk about what the '90s brought to us in autographs alone, even before that, in '91, you had the Legends of Wrestling box set. That was
so that actually predates everything, but it's still in the '90s.
It's still the '90s. It came out in '91. It was from a company called Imaginator Inc. And it featured like Bruno Sammartino and Mil Mascaras and Dominic DeNucci. It's got all these guys in there. And these guys, there were autographs in those. They weren't in packs. They were in factory sets. But you can get a Captain Lou Albano autograph, a Killer Kowalski autograph, a Lou Thez autograph, a Buddy Rogers autograph on those things. I mean, these are like, again, we've talked in episodes before where people don't respect history and wrestling cards.
Sure.
And this is an amazing card set that people should kind of look at and kind of get a good feel of who these legends were that were from the 50s and 60s and the 70s like that. And even the age of Lou Albano and stuff, It's an amazing card set with great autographs in it.
Well, and compare that to, so some people may want to argue what we're saying, like, well, it's not a pack, it's a factory set.
Well, we're not. We're just talking about '90s card sets, right? We're not talking about packs.
What I'm saying is, like, okay, find me another baseball, basketball, football card set that was putting out factory sets of autographed cards. There wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah. There wasn't.
No.
It's a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah, which is what I'm getting at. Is there any kind of other like innovations that I've missed in the '90s that really stands out to you? That like the really it was the numbered stuff and the fact that you could pull. There were so many chances to pull on card autographs, no stickers,
on-card autographs,
actual on card.
And all that was on card. I don't think any of that stuff was sticker. None of that stuff was stickered.
I don't remember seeing stickered stuff until Topps took over.
Yeah, there was nothing in the '90s that came out for wrestling that was stickered auto. It was all on card stuff. I can't think of anything else. And even when you go that Wrestling Legends, that was on card. It wasn't sticker. It was on card. Like those cards were signed by Bruno Sammartino. They were signed by Captain Lou. There's nothing. But I mean, innovative wise for wrestling, first hologram card ever came out was in the '90s.
Is it the Sting card or is it something that predates that?
Sting hologram card, even Chrome, Tech Chrome from '95 WCW.
I guess if you want to do a real reach, something I used to love when I was a kid was the hologram stickers that WWF put out during the New Generation era.
Sure.
I still have my Yokozuna one, actually. I pulled it from a skating rink at a field trip when I was in elementary school. I still have it. Like
I had the hologram cards set that had like Yokozuna, Atom Bomb, Undertaker. I had that. I just found it in storage not too long. Well, probably doing that live storage sale. Yep. I found it after we were done. Yeah, those are cool cards. They're cards, sticker cards. They're cool.
So let's jump to some of the, I feel like some people may think this is stupid that we're going to mention some of these names, but when you stop and think about it, once again, you cannot deny how important the '90s were for wrestling cards. You got guys like Jericho and The Rock, Undertaker, Steve Austin. I'm sure I'm missing some, but those all names just pop off right off the bat. All of their
you're gonna have Shawn Michaels. Yeah, all their first stuff. You got Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and there's a lot of the guys that became are Hall of Famers now are just getting inducted in Hall of Fame. This is the era that they came out in. It's the 90s.
Yep. And like you just said it, all your PSA orders almost all 90s.
It's all 90s. It's like, I mean, it's across the board because we're just talking about 90s. We're not being specific about factory sets, pack pulled stuff. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff I sent in from Merlin set from 90s, 91s. I got several Stone Cold Steve Austin from 95s. I got some Rock cards from 98. It's all 90s stuff. It's just all, Macho Man from the Merlin sets, Hulk Hogan from some of the Merlin sets. I did a lot of Merlin stuff. It was my first stuff. It was my first stab at doing greatest stuff. So my next batch will come out probably in the next presidency. Will be that's got more across the board everywhere. Some 80s, 90s, even 2000s.
So let's talk about some of our favorite releases. I will let you get that started.
94, 95 Action Pack, probably one of my favorite ones, just because of the design. I don't think the 95 took away from 94 and vice versa. I think it was a nice 1-2 punch year after year. Love the emboss, love the signature stuff on them like that. The facsimile signatures on them were cool. Also that 94 set, you got a chance for the autographs, which was kind of cool. And you got a nice chance of having those 24 karat gold parallel, 22 karat gold parallel cards.
Of course, it was the 90s. It had to be 24 karat gold.
Yeah. And I mean, those were amazing. I love the promos they put out for the 95 Action Pack. The oversized ones were great. One of Diesel, one of Undertaker. They had the Lawrence Taylor promo.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a good promo, man. And
what a great crossover card.
But isn't that awesome? I mean, that was a great way. I mean, they made football cards already, Action Pack did, so it was kind of like a no-brainer for them, really. But it's still a good crossover, promo card. And then the promo cards themselves, which were the same. So the 94 Action Pack was great because you had the promo cards of Savage and Undertaker. Mm-hmm. Same image, same card was used for the autographs. It says prototype in the back, and it's also stamped. It's got the stamping on it for the numbering on it. Then those same two cards in the actual base set too.
Right.
So you get the same. They're great looking cards, man. And the emboss feeling is so cool. It's kind of why I like the WCW emboss that came out in '99 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just so cool. It's like that. And then I also like obviously 98. 99 WCW cards, what they're known for, which is
of course,
the autographs. I mean, come on.
And I mean, there's still cool base stuff in there. Like a lot of people want to push the Jericho and the Goldberg in there, and Goldberg you may actually have an argument for, and Jericho.
Mysterio.
Yeah, that's another one. Like they may have had cards out previously in the action figure card or CMLL or something like that, but the fact that these are their first pack pullable cards, like, to some collectors, like, that is it. That is the rookie card.
And two of those three guys that you mentioned, so Goldberg and Jericho, are pack pullable on-card autographs for the first time ever too.
Right. So something to think about. We're just piling on to how important the 90s were. And who's going to debate me about the 80s? Nobody. Crickets. Okay, moving on. Yep. See, you can't debate it. It just is what it is.
It is.
All right. I had I'm going to bounce around, but it's different. Like, these are my favorite sets, but not necessarily for the cards themselves. I got to go with 91 Impel, which is the Stomp collection. We're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know why we consider a 90s card set. I mean, they're still printing it today, right?
That's true.
I know it's a stupid joke. It just keeps on giving, though.
Well, I don't. Is it really a joke? I mean, I saw the printing press in your storage unit when we did the Instagram live sale. Oh, sorry. All right, moving on. 91 Impel. It's the design. It's the classic. It's the wrestling cards I saw everywhere when I went to an LCS, comic book store, toy store. They were everywhere. And every single time I was in the store and I saw that, I was like, man, I want to go home and watch wrestling. I want to go home and play with my figures. I want to watch Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan on Saturday mornings right after the Double Dragon cartoon and right before the NBA recap show or whatever. Like, it's all nostalgia for me with that set. So plus one of my favorite Ric Flair cards ever. 91 Merlin. I think you said enough about that. Just basic design, really cool pictures. One of my favorite Undertaker cards in there, the one where he's got the hands on the casket.
That's the one I sent in for grading.
94 Action Pack, the 94 holograms, we've mentioned those. 95 WCW. I still think this set is the main event set is just, I don't know if I want to say underrated, but maybe just unappreciated.
I think you're right, and because it just screams 90s and all that stuff. Everything in that from I've watched your video, in which, by the way, if you haven't seen those videos, people, you need to go back and watch Zhan's Wrestling with Cards videos. How many parts of that is it? Like
7 or 8 parts.
7 or 8 parts. I mean, you went through every single card in that entire set and basically commentated every single one of them like that, and all done perfectly. I mean,
thank you.
It's just because it's exactly what that is. That set is just so 90s, man.
Yeah, and people just underestimate the, we're in this day and age where people want to find the first of something. So in this set, you've got the first pack pullable Steve Austin card.
Yep.
You've got the first WCW cards of Macho Man and Hogan.
Yep.
You've got pack pullable autographs, which we've spoken of. You've got these cool cards that are pay-per-view posters. Yeah. And some of them have errors.
Yep.
You got promo cards. I mean, it's just everything that you could want that's 90s in wrestling in a 100%. Card set.
It screams everything from that time frame. And even like whoever decided to use those particular pictures to represent all the talent, they're all, I think, perfect pictures, because it's like everybody's costumes were so bright and popped, and, and it's just and so it's just, it's like, this is if I had to go 1,000 years from now, go like, when did this come out? These cards, like, that's definitely back in that 21st century, 1990s. That's the 1990s, man.
What do you think screams the 90s more, the 95 set or the 91 Impel? The more I'm thinking about it, I think I might go with the 95, because I'm thinking
95, because 95 really represents those characters, and again, all the colors pop. Yeah, the 91 Impel, yes, it's very bright and vibrant like that. It's obviously a design that people like.
Maybe that has too much 80s going for it, though, because it's right on the cusp. A little
bit probably, yeah. But it's also, people recognize good designs, and then when you have independent cards out there trying to mimic some classic designs, make them look good, that 91 Impel is probably the most copied design for someone's homemade bootleg card sets.
And that's saying something for the importance and longevity of the brand. Like,
so they love it because it pops. It brings attention to it. It's just kind of like this bright picture frame around something cool inside the, whereas, and because it's a bordery, where the 95 main event is a full bleed, no borders like that, but it's just
the images.
The images bring everything out.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, we mentioned the 98 and the 99, which I also had down on my list for some of my favorite. And when you kind of look back, what we just said about the 1995 set, fast forward 4 years, 3 years even, completely different.
Completely.
Like, it's just so weird how things change so drastically.
And it's too, with those comic images sets from 98, which was a superstar set, which that was one of that to me was what most people's AEW set is coming out. It was oh my God, I can't wait for that. I couldn't wait for that. That was like, I had this gap, of years between, not getting any new releases. And so finally a new WWF card set's coming out, and they have autographs. I'm all over this, man. This is so cool. And that is just, even the packaging, the box, the images they use, that the thick cardstock comic images used, or dual cards too. And it was just grainy and dark, and it was just kind of like, it captured what WWF was, and it's just not so bright and colorful as that WCW stuff was just 3 years before.
Speaking of dark, I want to also mention the Japanese ECW set that kind of like, it is a card set, but it just seems like not many people can find them. And that, I think they stole it. Basically, if you took the Impel design and you put some attitude in it, no pun intended, that's essentially what these cards were, because it had that same design with the border and the crazy design, but it was dark. And it was like using different colors, not so much pastel and brightness. Yeah,
it was dirty, it was what represented ECW well. So whoever designed those cards did a really good job picking out that color scheme for it too, I think. So it was a good representation of ECW.
And then just kind of closing on favorite, and this isn't even necessarily a favorite, it's just something I thought of. I can't remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even the stuff we've learned from the 80s, and then the stuff we know modern, and then the 2000s, that 90s period, there's so much mystery and lore with these card sets.
I
Whether
know,
it's
because these card companies don't exist anymore. So it's hard to find someone that worked for Impel or did something for Championship Marketing or worked for cards. The closest I've ever gotten to finding someone is I have a letterhead from someone who received an autographed Macho Man promo card that was from that KKLZ promo. And it was addressed to this person, congratulating them on winning this or getting this. And then it was the person's name who was part of the marketing department for cards. I don't know anybody else. It's like trying to find someone. I mean, now even Comic Images, who I know some people from that company still, but when you get to 98, 99, things are a little bit more, there's not so much, a lot of mystery there too much. I mean, there's a few things maybe from like, what else might be missing from those 98?
The WCW cards.
Well, the WCW cards, that's what's tough. The WCW cards from Topps, which, you know, they don't keep those records anymore. This predates stuff where they don't keep records like that anymore. And it was just, you have to understand that WCW was treated like it's a licensing they got it really cheap, and they put out product with no intention of like, you know, we sent out X amount of autograph cards, and if we got anything back, we're happy. If we don't, who cares? You know, that's how they treated it. And so they kind of put it out, and they kept no records of it. There's no Topps vault to get that. You know, I've barked all the way up to the vice president of the companies like that, and it's like, we don't have any records of this stuff, man. It doesn't exist. So you got to find someone who worked here at that time who could probably give you some insight. That's kind of what I've done on a couple episodes that I did, my early episodes on WTC channels like that, was just talk to guys about top stuff who worked there back then. There's just a lot of mystery. I really wish we knew people who are hopefully still alive that worked at the time that could provide some insight.
Do you think that potentially some of this mystery is driving the interest and pricing?
Yeah, of course. It adds a certain level of that. Of course it will. You know, talent name of what you're looking for that become popular, it's going to be the number one thing, of course. But then I think that mystery level adds a little bit of cool factor to it.
So let's move on to some of the stuff we did not like about the 90s.
You go ahead, because you don't want to hear my rant.
I do want to hear your rant, but now nobody wants to hear my rant because they've already heard it 5,000 times, and that's a stupid 1990 classic set. I have such a bone to pick with this set. Like, I think the promo cards are cool. The purple
ones,
whatever. Those are like every single one of those. Even like we've talked about the Brutus the Barber Beefcake card in that set. Like, it's a really cool card, and I have
pops. That purple made it pop. That pose of Ultimate Warrior, it's like it just pops.
Yep. And did we ever find out a print run of these specific ones? Like, I don't see a lot of them out there. But
and again, it's and that's part of the 90s package we're talking about, of the mystery, the allure of it. We don't have some primes. Oh, there's a case incentive. This was a pack pull. This was this was that. They're not promos. They're actual chase cards. They're not chase cards. They were never in packs. You know, so. And God knows we've all opened a ton of classic. I mean, you think out of 5 cards, you know, purple border cards, you'd pull 1. You know, it's like they're not in packs. So it's just there's a mystery about it. It's like that. I kind of wish the whole set was designed like that purple border stuff, man.
The only other classic card that I won't throw shade at is the History of WrestleMania, because it's got Donald Trump sitting in the front row. And you can see, like, whether you're a fan or not, that's irrelevant. It's the fact that it's just like this weird thing of, oh, he's in this shot. Oh, there he is again. There he is again. It's like he's almost the star of the show of these cards. But I think really it's my bone to pick with this set is not the actual cards, because when you look at them, they're really no different than any other card set around then. It's just the people that are trying to make markets out of something that there's nothing in. And I've talked about that ad nauseum. So that's really it. Because I mean, I love I honestly can't think of another 90s card set that I just despise.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of my favorites. I don't think I have any of them from, I guess so. It's kind of a bland card set. It really is. Mixture of action shots, pose shots, things like that. Then you have the 89 version versus 90 version, and the, Series 2, which features all WrestleMania stuff. But yeah, I agree. I guess so. It's kind of bland. I mean,
if you want me to pick something, I really like the Warrior card in there that a lot of people call the rookie.
Yeah.
My argument is, hey, there's an 89 version. There's the 89 Market Scene card that is way cooler anyway.
Yeah.
There's an 88 Quaker Dips. There's an 89, or is it 88 or 89, the playing card? Like
88, I think.
Yeah, so there's like cards before this card that people are claiming it a rookie. Like you can call
it. It's also a pack pull card. That's what the problem is. It's a pack pull card.
That's true.
Same thing we're talking about when we go to make the argument for Stone Cold.
Yeah.
So I guess I get it, and I get that's what you want to do if you want to go out there and get that gem mint 10 on that. It's like that. Then I have an issue with some people who want to shove a particular product down people's throats to try to make it seem something like it's something.
Yes.
But I also understand why they do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of like walk this fine line. I just did my like little. Who was that again? That was I don't remember from what movie that was from.
Anyway, I will say that Warrior card does look good. If I was to have to pick one card out of the set, the one where he's standing to the side with the fist, it's a cool card.
You want my worst one?
Yeah,
dude, I got two of them. I don't think a lot of people really collect it too much, but I was not a fan.
I can't wait to hear this because it's very rare that you go on this big rant and I can feel it coming. So
it's not coming. It's really not. I do not like the 99 WWF WrestleMania live photo cards. I think that they completely dropped the ball on that. I was excited when I got those promo cards, which one was like, it was Andre and Jake the Snake on promo, I think promo number 1. And then promo number 2 was WrestleMania 14 with Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. And so I'm like, this is kind of cool. So some live action shots, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of action shots per se too much. It's going to be, they're photo card size. So they're bigger cards, they're thinner. And I just thought that when it came out and all I could get out of this, after your first 3 releases you put out Superstars, you put out SmackDown Chrome, all had autographs, all had some kind of unique like Chrome type of thing. I don't even talk about that SmackDown, by the way, and SmackDown Chrome with those facsimile autograph cards that came out of those things. Those are so hard to come by, man.
And both of those sets really get kind of pushed to the wayside.
They get pushed away. Yeah. You got Hardy Boys rookie in there with the rookie autograph cards too. They can get out of that.
Hardy Boys Chrome is sweet.
And Hardy Boys Chrome is sweet. It's got Michael P.S. Hayes with them too. And I thought they dropped the ball, man. They could have done some cool chase ideas. I mean, they could have made even like a oversized signed card would have been kind of cool. It's like that. It's just, I don't know. And that flimsy little piece of crap binder that came in there with like, you put them all in. It's like,
correct me if I'm wrong, but were these basically just like postcards?
They're like postcards.
Yeah,
they're postcards. And it's just, I don't know. And I'm not a fan of postcards. That's probably why I have such disdain for them. But, it's like, I love that WCW magazine that from collector's edition number 2, it's all Sting, and it has Sting, the first 9 cards, and those are Sting cards in that magazine. Right. But it has like 4 postcards or 9
they're over.
I could care less about that. I cut that stuff out, and here you go, you can have that. But it's like, I want the cards, man. But so I thought, okay, this is cool. Comic Image hasn't let me down yet. These are such cool releases they put out, and they let me down. but the one that actually eclipsed that for me is, I call it a 90 set because it came out in 1999 and it went on through 2005. Is that damn Danbury Mint set? Those damn Danbury Mints, the damn Dudleys.
I think the snake oil salesman.
Oh, I think that, and I bought into that crap. I was every single month I was getting billed, $20 a month, whatever it was. I was getting, or whatever. I got the binder. I specifically, probably why I'm pissed off. I specifically put my order and said, don't have my name etched on the stupid binder, because you could choose to do that.
Yeah.
They put my stupid name on it. I asked them not to do that. And I just thought they were another cool idea. I guess I saw some other etched stuff like before. I thought was kind of cool, and they just looked lame to me. It was so lame. Then I had to go back and get the whole damn set again after they went to WWE. F you guys. I'm done with you guys. Danbury Mint can suck it. I don't like them.
It's funny that you bring this up because at the time of this recording, my Danbury Mint video that I did on this whole set, I didn't cover the whole set, but it was requested through my Patreon to talk about it. So I was like, all right. As I was getting into it, I gave honest opinions, and I'm kind of with you. Like, there's some good and there's some bad, but I just kept like, it just kept sending me back to those. Here we are talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
The QVC, Don
Exactly.
West, Home Shopping Network. And every single time I was looking at one of these pictures as I was doing research and putting notes together, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting ripped off, and I'm not even buying these things. I'm just staring at them. Next thing I know, they're going to want me to get like a gold-plated 24-karat gold plate that has horses on it.
And then they went, well, they did the same thing where they did. They'll get you in the pewter collection after
that.
Yeah. They had. I quit collecting that. I canceled my subscription once the first 50 cards were done, and then they went on beyond that. And then they also had like a special Mankind one, a 2-card Mankind one. It had its own bind. I'm not doing this. You guys suck. The whole thing sucks. I've got nothing to say about it. I'm glad I have nothing left. I got rid of that stuff a long time ago. If I paid someone to take my collection from me, they didn't pay enough.
Well, I have seen a couple of them surface that got autographed and then graded, so they're then put in a slab like PSA.
So what do they do? They crack them out of that thing. Yeah. And that's just.
It sounds stupid, but then when I saw them in the slab,
you know what?
I'm like,
it's a stupid card set. Do stupid things, Buy stupid card sets, win stupid prizes.
Two things on that. They did look better autographed and authenticated in a PSA slab than they did from Danbury Mint. The second thing, and I touch on this in the video, the company's called Danbury Mint. Mint meaning mint condition. They're giving you a card completely enclosed in a encapsulated piece of plastic.
Yeah, sometimes it had a fold in it sometimes, or a chip.
People sent them to PSA, and they were coming like there's a couple of 10s out there, but they'll come back as a 7 or an 8 or a 6. So clearly it's not mint.
Or that person just went like just like tore it up like, there it is, down on the floor over here. No wonder why I got a low grade.
Or somebody from PSA got it and they go, Danbury Mint. Oops, there's a ding corner.
There's a ding.
Yeah,
it gets a full grade lower just because it's Danbury Mint.
Can you believe that company's still in business?
Are they?
Yes. They're still selling all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh, please, please, AEW, don't sign an agreement with them. Don't.
Gonna have Hangman Page custom shot glasses from Danbury Mint.
I'd buy that. I'd be more interested in that than the actual stupid cards they put out. They're just ugly looking. I mean, you look at some of the faces, I go, that's Vince McMahon. That doesn't look like Vince McMahon. What is that?
It's exactly what I talked about in the video.
Yeah.
The only argument.
I need to come down.
Okay. All right. We'll move on. What else you got to say? Like, that's pretty much it for some of the notes I had. Like, I still want someone to challenge me on I'm not talking about like anything else outside of wrestling cards. I really think the 90s kind of are the biggest boom in wrestling cards. Like, the most sets kind of put out, well, not counting modern, but because everything is tops though.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the most companies doing different things. You had innovative designs. You had innovative things like the pack pullable autographs. You had first serial number wrestling cards. It's a common thing now.
First time Chrome was ever done. It's also a case in point. Here's a highlight, by the way. So all of the WCW stuff that Topps put out was all in late 90s, 98 and 99. They put out a set in 98 and 2 sets in 99. What the 99 WCW embossed set lacked in autograph cards as far as its lineup goes, because I mean, it was a stack house in those first 2 releases. They kind of made up a bit on that by introducing the very first. Now, wrestling to me is considered a non-sport. It's a non-sport. So to me, it's the first non-sport relic card was introduced in the WCW embossed.
How did we miss that when we were talking about
rarity?
That? Yeah,
ringside rarity. That was I pulled 2 of those over the years. I remember I bought a case. I got one in that case. And then I didn't pull a second one. I actually bought in a collection. But the one I pulled was a nice 3-colored swatch. So I mean, the most of them would be yellow.
Right.
But I had, it had a little yellow, a little red, little, black in it. So it was very nice.
Yeah, I don't know how we missed that when we were talking about it, but man, the 90s cards, there's just so much cool stuff, so many big names, so much original stuff that hadn't been done before. And
I think a decade from now, you're gonna. I mean, we already got Rock, Stone Cold is, those are holding some good big numbers. Undertaker stuff is holding big numbers, but in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, those are gonna be some major, major cards that wrestling fans who are collectors are gonna wish they went back and got, because there's some major names in there. I mean, we hit the big guys, but then the Shawn Michaels, you have the Triple H's, the Chynas that came out from the Attitude Era. I mean, there's just a lot of amazing talent from that time. From that, it just needs to be collected.
Yeah, if you can find it, and that's another kind of appeal to it is, there's tons of 85 tops, there's tons of 87 tops, and even the Wonderama stuff you can find, but a lot of this stuff you would think you would be able to find it, and some of it you can't.
Going for big money, man. Even overseas stuff like that 90, was it 92 Tops UK?
Oh yeah.
That's big money. I mean, it's just that's just covering. We just covered cards, because that whole era also, for a lot of card collectors, collect stickers.
Yes.
And that just a massive amount of stickers that came out during that time frame. You get guys out there getting 97 Panini rocks and call it rookie, whatever, man. I mean, get whatever you think. But then you got there's a Scotty the Body one from a 92 Panini stickers. Like
isn't it Euroflash?
Euroflash came out as well. Yeah, Euroflash had
one. There's a Steve Austin one in there.
Yeah, and there's Magic Box Inc. That came out in 2000, I think, for SmackDown. But I mean, Merlin put out a ton of stuff.
This is a prime example. We didn't even talk about Chromie.
Chromie. Yeah, another great example. I mean, Jesus Christ, who doesn't want a PN news,
Or a Diamond Stud.
Stud.
Yeah.
You got one of those bad boys.
I do.
And then, of course, stunning Steve Austin in that as well. I mean, who would have thought? Those were pretty plentiful when I bought my set, and I got another set in a collection, and then I sold a set this year. I think I sold it for $1,300 for the set, which I think is a steal.
You also got one of the first Diamond Dallas Page cards in there.
That's
when
right.
He's with the
Freebirds. Look at that. What DDP and a Freebirds card? What's going on? I pointed that out. I just did an interview for a TV show coming out talking about wrestling cards, and pointed that out. Like, hey, there's you recognize that guy? Like, is that DDP? That's DDP right there, man. So it's just it's a cool set from Peru, and no, it's Argentina. That's Argentina.
That one is,
Then you talk about the other one from Peru. It's like that 108 card set. I mean, there was so much stuff, so much, because wrestling was so popular, and so many different licensing agreements going overseas, and it was a lot less bootleg. Still some bootleg stuff out there from the 90s, but a lot less of it. And there's it's just everywhere. It's all over the place. I mean, in Russia, in Australia, United States, Mexico, it was everywhere. There was just so much stuff, and it focused around those two companies.
You just said Mexico. We're talking about the 90s. That 6-figure Jericho card.
There you go. See,
there's another 90s card.
Another 90s card, man. That's CMLL cards. I mean, it's loaded with obviously that's the king right there is that card. But you got Vampiro in that set. And there's a lot of great stuff in that.
And we just missed on the cusp. And I guess you could. I'm pretty sure it's 2000, but it might be bordering the 99 if you want to get technical about it. The ECW cards from the figures, wrestling figures.
Yeah, and those are actually from late 90s, I believe.
Is right on the edge there. So, I mean, we just keep coming up with this stuff off the top of my head, which is just a prime example of why I think this is the biggest era in wrestling cards.
Actually, I take that back. I believe you're right. It is 2000 for that set.
I couldn't remember if it's on the edge.
Yeah. They both came out. ECW Series 4, Bash of the Brawlers, and Champion Clashers had those cards and stickers in it. Yeah, in 2000.
So it's right on the cusp there. But again, I'm pretty sure everybody listening to this or watching this is kind of catching the drift on what we're talking about. Like like the 90s is where it's at, really. It
really is.
And it's a completely unbiased, because I love a lot of modern, and everybody knows I love my vintage, like, the All-Stars. Come on. It's like the best wrestling card set ever.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to deny some of the originality and big names, first cards, rookie cards, just interesting innovations that maybe wrestling cards had that is a commonplace today in sports cards, in wrestling cards, and non-sport that nobody else was doing back then.
It started there, man.
Yeah.
Started there.
When you think about it that way, you're just like, man, wrestling cards originated something, and yet they're still the bottom
Which
rung
is
of the
another
ladder.
thing too, because people ask, like, well, God, cards from the 1800s. Like, yeah, as far as sports go, I'm pretty sure wrestling cards predate any other sport being put onto cardboard.
Yep.
So there you go.
It's amazing
always innovating, still getting pushed to the side.
And still getting duplicated, because the sports cards take what wrestling does and they make it appeal to the hype bros, and then all of a sudden those cards are worth millions.
I feel like that wrestling cards are like the porn industry. It really is. Because porn dictates. I mean, porn dictates how what medium is being used to use that. So when porn first came into when we started doing the VHS tapes like that, well, it was before VHS there was beta. So there was beta and VHS. VHS tapes were made cheaper and were easier to produce. Porn decided to go with VHS. Beta went away. When CDs first came out, and then we had DVDs. We had DVDs. We had CD DVDs. We had DVD VH or something like that. There were multiple platforms like that. Porn decided we're going DVD route, straight DVD route that way. You don't hear about those other ones anymore. They're gone.
Right.
Porn dictated that. Wrestling dictates things in the trading card market, I think, and doesn't get the credit it deserves from all other sports. Take from wrestling.
And on that note, we can't top that. I hope you guys learned a lot today. I hope you go back and, even if you're a modern collector of vintage, like, just take a look at some of this 90s stuff, because it really is innovative, as we've talked about today. Just it makes me want to go dig through the stuff I have right now and just go look at all of that.
Yeah, just some cool stuff, man. Check them out.
Tony, let everybody know where they can find you and where they can find all of this great information that we've talked about today.
Everything's on WrestlingTradingCards.com. Everything you can find is there. All the social media platforms and how to reach out to us. Hey, if you find something that is not listed on our website, you have a checklist correction, you have some information that we need, just use the contact us form. Be happy to investigate it with you and get that checklist corrected if it needs to be.
And if you need help with links to social platforms or whatever, that will all be in the show notes you can check out. So check out my stuff, Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, Wrestling with Cards, the podcast, probably all over everywhere else. But guys, we greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen and the continued support. We're just continuing to build the wrestling card community, even though it gets no respect. We're going to get there one of these days, just building bigger, coming back every day, regardless of what people are saying about us. Sports card guys, they can take a hike. We're going to keep.
We'll get all of our praises after. We'll go the Rodney route and get all our respect after we're gone.
You never know. After today's episode, we might.
That's true.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll catch you later.